Well, hello. I'm so happy you can join me today on Round Glass Living to experience mindfulness. I'm Vishvapani and I live in Cardiff in Wales. And in today's practice, we're going to be expanding our experience of the breath and the body using a practice called whole body breathing. So, bring your attention to the body, and everything that we know comes through the body. At least everything we know about the world. You're probably aware that we have a network of nerves throughout the body, and there are millions of nerve endings. And then there are billions or trillions even of neurons, these receptors spread out through the body. So we know with the body. Meditation has changed my experience of the body. So there's the view of the body that we have maybe through anatomy or perhaps looking at someone else's body. But in meditation, you explore the body from the inside. So how it feels, how you experience it. And in today's practice, we're going to be doing that. And this practice is drawn from a way of meditating that some people do in Thailand. And it explores the breath in quite an unexpected way that doesn't make any sense, sort of in terms of anatomy. But what we do is we imagine or sense that the breath is entering the body through the pores of the skin in the whole body. And this isn't about anatomy. Don't worry about where the breath is actually coming in. I mean, presumably it's coming in through your nose and mouth. So don't worry about that. Just go with it. Right. Let's just take our time. One thing that doesn't work with meditation is hurrying. You think, oh, I've only got 10 minutes. I've got to do it quicker. It doesn't really work. You can't sleep quicker, can you? Let's just take our time. Take a breath. Maybe take a moment just to enjoy being here. Perhaps everything's been busy. Perhaps it's going to be busy. Well, it's not busy right now. We can just enjoy that. And let's start by really encouraging a sense of being grounded. So very often when we're engaged with a lot of thinking, our attention's up in our heads, or at least that's where we identify. So how about taking our attention right down to the floor? If, like me, you're sitting up in a chair, then how about just feeling your feet on the floor? If you got shoes on, maybe just kick them off. Or you can feel your feet inside the shoes. You might be lying down. Well, you're going to have to work to stay awake if you're doing that. You might be sitting on a cushion on the floor. So you can just adapt what I'm suggesting according to your own posture. So feeling where the body rests on the floor. And if that's at the feet, you really get a sense of that contact, the toes, the ball of the foot, the heel. And gravity pulls down on the body. So feel the body resting, Also, we feel the gravity, feel the contact around the bottom, around the thighs if you're sitting up like me. Feel that sense of touch or pressure. And grounding means having a sense that the earth, our chair, is supporting us, and that we're happy to be supported so we can relax, let the body settle. Maybe taking a deeper breath now. As we breathe, feeling the whole height of the body on the in-breath. Let's take another deeper breath. Feeling the whole height of the body. Breathing out, letting the body settle, come to a sense of stillness. And one thing that will take us away from that feeling of being grounded is when a thought comes into our mind and our attention latches onto it and we think, yes, of course, that's interesting. I can think about that. Or it might even be not pleasurable. It might be, I've got to, yes, there's this, there's that. Just notice that. Is that what's going on? Even just with one part of your mind. Just notice that, and we just recognize that that's the mind doing its usual chattering thing. Chatter, 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 chatter. Not interested in that. Just feeling the breath, feeling the body, and enjoying some space from all that thinking. And as we breathe, as we settle, maybe we just naturally, intuitively have a sense of how we are today, how we're feeling. Maybe how our energy is. Are we sluggish or are we overstimulated? Are we tense or are we relaxed? We can actually be too relaxed for meditation. We can be falling asleep. So finding that point of balance as best we can. And is there somewhere in the body that feels like the center or the core? Something like that. If we take our attention to the belly, it may feel a bit like that. It might be somewhere else completely in the body. But is there a way that we can rest our attention that feels like we're coming into the center? We're coming into the core of who we are and what's happening right now. Breath and body. Body and breath. Just feel the breath entering naturally through the nose, passing down the windpipe, through the throat, all the way down into the chest. So now feeling the area around the feet as we settle into our posture, into this position, just imagining that the breath was flowing in through the pores of the skin, through the soles of the feet. As we breathe in, the breath flows up the body. As we breathe out, it flows back down the body, all the way out through the feet. Breath flowing in, breath flowing out. So this sense of rising and settling. Coming up from the feet, flowing up through the legs and back down. So now shifting our attention to the area around the small of the back. There might be painful sensations if you've got a bad back. Just taking our attention there. Just sensing or maybe imagining that the breath flows in through the small of the back. And flows back out through the small of the back. Noticing any sense of energy. Any movement. The breath flowing in through the small of the back brings everything that breath does bring. A sense of refreshment, vitality, and life. Now we're going to move our attention to the area between the shoulder blades. If you take a slightly deeper breath, you can feel the shoulders just moving. So just imagining or sensing the breath is flowing in at the back of the body between the shoulder blades. and sensing any feeling of change, of movement. So this is imagining. We're imagining that the breath is flowing in through the pores of the skin, through the muscles, through the fibers and sinews, through the blood and bone, into the body. Now, shifting our attention again, expanding it so that we sense that the breath is flowing in through the whole body, through the pores of the skin. Breathing in through the pores of the skin, breathing out through the pores of the skin. The whole body from the crown of the head down to the feet and toes. And we're breathing into something that feels like the core or the center. Breath flowing through the skin into the center. Breath flowing back out through every pore in the body from the center. Breath flowing in and flowing out. So stay connected to the center and let that be the main focus. The center might be somewhere in your belly or around your solar plexus, somewhere like that in the middle of the body. And there's often a sense of greater intensity there. The breath flows in through the whole skin to the center. Let the breath flow freely. Let the skin be open and sensitive. Now starting to move gently and slowly towards the end of the practice. So just letting go of the sense of the pores of the skin, staying with the body and just in an ordinary way, feeling the breath, taking a moment to absorb, to reflect, just noticing how that experience was, how it is right now, how it feels to still be sitting, breathing. And just moving our fingers, moving our shoulders, gradually externalizing our senses. And I can see we have a question. Thank you very much for asking. Now I understand why this is called whole body breathing. I felt it moving through my feet, back and shoulders. Is it normal for the center to move from my belly to my heart area? Well, yes. Will it settle into one place as I practice more? Who knows? Um, it's a good question, but it really, I find it, that feeling of the center moves around. It's, in a way, it's quite subjective. I don't know if it's like a real fixed thing. It might settle, particularly if you do practices that are focused on, say, this part of the body, which is in Zen Buddhism, they call this the hara. Or other practices focus on this part of the body. Sometimes you have mantras, they resonate in different parts of the body. If you do those practices, then it encourages that internal sense of the body. But just go with whatever, firstly, whatever feels natural for you, and B, let it be alive and let it change. But it's lovely to hear that spoke to you and that felt okay. Just one thought about this practice. It's very very much about being sensitive with the whole body, very open. And that can bring a sense of vulnerability. And just notice that. If you feel a bit like, you're exposed because your body has become sensitive in a different way, notice that. And just take care over the transition at the end of this session. So I think sometimes this can be quite a strong practice to do. And be sure to stay grounded. Yeah. Just keep coming back, feet on the floor, breathe, come back to the core. But also bearing in mind that being open, being sensitive, even being vulnerable are good things as well. You just need to work with them, need to manage them. So I am going to read a poem that's written by the German poet Rainer Maria Rilke from one of his collections called The Book of Hours. It goes like this. I love the dark hours of my being. My mind deepens into them. There I can find, as in old letters, the days of my life already lived and held like a legend and understood. Then the knowing comes. I can open to another life that's wide and timeless. So I'm sometimes like a tree rustling over a gravesite and making real the dream of the one its living roots embrace. A dream once lost among sorrows and songs. It's lovely, isn't it? So thank you for sharing this time. Please continue to explore your meditation practice with us. This time that we set aside for meditation is really valuable. We've got 24 hours in the day, we sleep, we work, we eat. Just this time to meditate can make so much difference. So check out our daily live meditations at roundglass.com or on the Round Glass Living app. Be open, have a great day, and live it fully.